Hi, this is Max Riddle. In this video, I will be going over my consensus distributed system. Right now, I'm running the workers in the leader. So the leader is up, already received connection from one of the workers, waiting on 2 more to get started. Once we have 3 leaders, it immediately starts and sends a hello message. This JSON right here is the hello message. Use this method write greeting, returns the greeting JSON that we need. And then we keep all of our workers in this list of worker handler objects. And then we send a greeting here through this distribute JSON method, and that returns a list full of JSON results from our workers. So let's go to distribute JSON method and show what is going on there. So if it's a task or hello request from the leader, then we need input from the workers in that case, and that means we need to run it concurrently. To run it concurrently, I'm using this combination of feature objects and the thread pool. The feature objects allow us to basically have a receipt to collect once the workers are done working, and we use this timeout feature right here to throw a timeout exception if the workers took more than 1 minute to respond. And in that case, we add null to the list. If everything works out well, then we add the result from the worker to the list. The worker writes the result here with the right greeting with the ID and name. And then for the other cases, I'll go over it already right now, where we send a quit or announcement of the consensus. We just send the responses sequentially because we do not need to collect any input from those workers. So back to the main method, write the greeting, and then we parse the JSON, get the name and ID, store those variables in our worker handler objects, and just print hello here in the console of our leader. And once that is done, we are ready to start sending some tasks. So we have this loop that handles everything going on in the consensus. First, we prompt the leader user to write the task. And I want to stop right here and pause and explain what we have done so far and what we expect to happen. So we are starting to write the task that we're going to send to the workers. We've already initially greeted them with our hello request and essentially getting us ready to start working with them. And once I send this task, we will then be on a 1-minute timer waiting for all of our worker threads to answer the task that we have written here in the leader, and they will use this handle task method in order to prompt the worker users for a result, and then pack it up in a JSON and send it. So that can all be seen right here. And then it's all going to happen fast once the workers submit their result. The leader will determine the consensus right here. after we obtain our results via our distribute JSON method again, and we're going to use a frequency map to tally up the votes from the workers. And then after we tally up the votes, we are going to find out the max amount of votes received. Once we find out the max amount of votes received, we will use this get winners method in order to find out which results in that frequency map have met not only just the threshold of majority, but also the max amount of votes, the max votes we've already determined. And then, depending on the size of that winners list, we will handle it accordingly. If it's a size of 1, then we have one winner. We write the consensus announcement. Which just contains the result. And true if we found a winner, and then if the size is bigger than 1, that means we have a tie. So in order to determine the tie, we're just going to randomly pick a result from that list of winners. And then lastly, if no votes met the majority threshold, that means no consensus was found, then we will use this write no consensus method that sets OK to false and sends a string containing the distribution of the votes. So now that we know what we are going to expect, let's send that second integer over, completing the task request. And now that task is sent, on the worker side, we can see it populate the terminals. So now we just provide our answers. I'm going to put the wrong answer here. I'll put 5. And then for the other two, I'll put the correct answer. And then after I submit this this final worker thread's result, we will immediately get the announcement of the consensus winner. And we can see it show our consensus found for all of the workers was 4. And this is handled here in the announcement method that parses the JSON, and if the consensus was found, print the result, otherwise print the distribution. And that is a full run through of the consensus. And I want to take a moment to discuss what happens for the failures or edge cases. So that's all going to be here in our distribute JSON method, where we already mentioned what happens if a worker times out. And now if a worker loses connection, then in that case, we will go down to our send request and send response methods, where if we get an exception thrown when it's trying to send a response, that means that we lost the connection, and in that case, we will set the worker in our list of worker handlers to null, so that it can just be ignored throughout subsequent consensus rounds. And we have null checks for that. All throughout the program, where we check if the worker is null and continue on with our consensus